Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lead from Within podcast. My name is Nina Urman, and I'm so excited today to have Anurag Bhartiya with me, who has become a dear friend, I would say, over the last conversations we've had. And the interesting part with you, Anurag, is that we have never met in person, but I feel so close to you because of the deep conversations and exchanges on LinkedIn. So here's to LinkedIn and all the connections it's creating. I want you, first of all, to introduce yourself and tell us who you are. And as you all know, the very first question I always ask is, what is leading from within for you?
Sure. Thank you, Nina, for allowing me to be here on this podcast with you. So I'll go with the first question, which is a brief intro to me. I am based out of New Delhi, and I have some 3 decades of corporate experience, primarily in the area of human resources. So I like working with people, and I liked seeing how people work in groups and individually. And I left the corporate world 4 years back to pursue my own interest, which was in the same field, but I wanted to do it full time in my own way. So right now I work with organizations and individuals and help them get aligned to themselves and to their own truth. And it's been a fascinating journey. So that's what I do. In terms of your question, what does it mean to be led from
Leading
inside
from
out?
within. Yeah, leading from the inside out, leading from within.
Leading from rhythm. So it's a coincidence that the work that I do, I call it leading or playing your game from inside out. For me, leading from within is knowing yourself, being honest to yourself, and trying to have maximum alignment between your intention, thoughts, and actions. That's what I feel is leading from within.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And so tell me more, Anurag, how do you help individuals and organizations to do that, to align with their intentions, to kind of align intentions and actions? Because so many of us, I believe, are all about results and actions and kind of productivity outcomes and what we see on the external. But I think many don't quite get that dance between inside and outside.
True. So I find this myself pretty slippery. It's like wet clay. You touch it from one side and it protrudes from the other side, and you try to get your arms around it, and you can't catch it. But if you let it go, it's all over you, all around you. So it's something like that. For me, the best way to help people find their own path is by simply letting them talk. I prefer to listen, and in the process of listening, people tend to present their problem,
Mhm.
their solutions, what's stopping them, and what do they think about it.
Mm,
Right. So often they just need they don't even need a validation. It's all validated inside. They know everything. No one is a fool these days. Everyone knows everything, and everyone has the same internal source. So and everyone's intuition works uh, in different levels, but everyone is equipped with the same faculties, and hence I feel that everyone knows everything. They simply sometimes need either a sounding board,
mhm.
some kind of a catalyst or a trigger or a push or a validation, whatever you might call it. But once they have shared their thoughts and all, and when they do it a few times, eventually they come to a place where they know they have to do something about it.
Right. I love that. I love that it's just about creating a space, right? As a coach, as a facilitator, I resonate with this so much because sometimes I feel it's only only the creation of the safe space and the listening skills that allow people to actually reconnect to their essence, right? Reconnect to what they already know. I always
Yeah.
feel like people ask me all the time, like, why am I not taking that action that I actually want to take? Or why don't I do what I know I need to do? And it's interesting because I think it's linked to those emotions and intentions and thoughts that they're having. And they kind of know, but they don't want to go there. For some reason, it's kind of scary. So they prefer to stay where they've always been, which is the comfortable part. So I find
Yes,
that sometimes when you get them out of their comfort zone, either through empowerment validation, but sometimes also just calling them on their bullshit, so to say, and saying, listen, like you were lying to yourself or sabotaging yourself, actually give them a way out.
absolutely. That's a, how do I say this? Today, all of us are leading a life which is far superior to what probably extremely rich and powerful people were living a
Mm-hmm.
few centuries ago, right? You have a medical problem, you get it solved. You want to talk to anyone on the world? I'm talking to you in Paris, sitting from my home. We can do that. Everyone is equalized in some ways. And yet, despite all of that, I have a sense that all of us are not complete in ourselves. There is something which is missing.
Mm-hmm.
We are at 90%, 80%, 70%, 99%, whatever it may be. But there is something that we hold on to, which gives us the safety, but which makes us not who we are. I think we don't want to be vulnerable.
Yes. Because what does that mean being vulnerable, right? It means you're maybe, easy to be hurt, right? People don't want to be hurt. We don't want to experience negative emotion. So we're afraid of it. So we don't want to open up. We'd rather play big and strong and pretend, which is the false persona, right? And we give in to false desires, therefore. So who
Absolutely.
are we truly? If you think about it, let's have a little bit this discussion around. So, people tell me, like, Nina, but you talk about this essence thing and this true and this authenticity, but what is it really? Like, I don't get it. I understand, I have intuition, but who am I really? What would you say to that?
So, this is going to be a bit of a lengthy answer. I would just request your patience. There are two parts to this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's how I try to explain and what I have observed over the years. And, this is my way of putting the arms around the slippery stuff. So then the one part is you're going to have a particular kind of a approach to life, and the approach is pretty simple. The more open and curious you are about life itself, the more the chances you will learn and you will grow and you will become aware. The more aware you become of things around you, the more clarity you have,
Mm-hmm.
and with deeper clarity comes conviction
Mm-hmm.
and the courage to act. So it's a compounding effect. It's a sequence. You can't straight away go from A to F. It's not something that you do once in a while. You've got to be open to everything all the time, right? So one is there is this quality of approach and thinking or mindset, whatever you want to call it. The second part is who am I to that question? So, one of the ways I explain this is that imagine you are three concentric circles. The innermost circle is your construct or who am I.
Yeah.
The second part is your context, which is your reality. And third is contribution, which is how do you build bridges with the world around you,
Right.
right? So the first one, who am I? If you start saying, I am if you were to just reflect and if you're just open and curious and you start building awareness, you soon realize that I'm not my last designation, my assets, my even my thoughts, my memories, and my body. And soon, hence, you come to a question that then who am I really, right? And there are several ways to explain this. So one of the ways I find very powerful, which has really worked for me, is what I say is that the at a sub template level, behind everything there is an invisible omnipresent awareness, call it consciousness, call it essence, call it whatever you might want to use term, and this is in a state of expression.
Mm-hmm.
And just like hot water, you boil water and there are bubbles which come out. Similarly, in this pure awareness and consciousness, there is all the time bubbles of creativity emerging. And every entity that you see in the universe is an expression of that consciousness. And every expression is is self encoded with the right information and the right properties. The sun is sun because it is something which gives us heat, and the water is something which flows and is wet, and the air is something that moves, right? Similarly, all the animals in the planet, on the in the animal kingdom, or the plants, they all have a very unique set of properties which makes them who they are.
Mhm.
So similarly, Nina, minus her name, designation, experience, where she stays, everything, even her family relationships and all, is essentially when she was born, she was encoded with a tendency, a propensity, a bundle of properties, which is which is what defines her, and that is what gives her a very unique perspective to everything in life.
Right.
That's her superpower. That's her contribution to the world. And there is no other person on this earth who has the same perspective,
Mm-hmm.
identical, or sees things in the same way. You might have 1,000 Ninas by that name, but there is only one this
You wanted
person.
me.
Yes, the one of you. So that's who you are. And when people say, what is the purpose of my life? The purpose of your life is to be yourself.
Yeah.
So right, so as we have grown up, the more experienced we become, the less curious we become, the less open we become. And the way to find out who you are is not by gaining more information or doing more things, but by dropping all the luggage that you seem to be carrying around.
Right. I agree with that so much. Is the all those layers that we carry around, all these thoughts and beliefs and emotions and emotional baggages. But I love the analogy with the water and um, how we're all interconnected. In essence, we're all one. Let's say all the consciousness. Let's say that's evaporating. But then the expressions of
Yeah.
that essence, we're all very unique and different. And um, one of my other mentors I spoke about, she calls it the meta self, right? It's kind of, there's not only the ego identity right here, right now, and the higher consciousness, there's also something that is the meta self, which is kind of in between those worlds, that is very aware, but still in the human body, still here in the reality operating. And I love this because it's kind of like the several states of water, but it's still water, right? It's still the essence, it's still consciousness. It's just the expressions of it very different. And what would you say? Um, so we did the one circle, right? Do you want to say anything about the other two, just for us to understand your reality, right? And then your
Sure.
interaction with the world, because we're always interacting with other people. And one of the things when I do my reinvention classes, I always ask that question, like, who are you? How do you think about yourself? Your self identification is really important. Like how aware you are about yourself and who you are and how you perceive yourself. But then there's this layer of other people. And I find that this is almost even more, like, generates even more fear sometimes. Like, we're having our own fears within ourselves, but then there's all these layers of how are other people going to perceive me? And what are they going to see that I don't want them to see? This is the vulnerability part you talked about earlier. So maybe talk a little bit about the others.
Those who are going to be listening to this, they will say, we get it, right? And that's one of the challenges that I see. The
Mm.
faster you say we get it, the more the likelihood that you didn't get it. What I mean by that is that if you really get something as simple as that, then where is the issue,
Mhm.
right? So you have to really, it's not an intellectual exercise. It's not about coming to a rational conclusion, of course, that if I am not this, not that, not this, then I must be something and all that. You got to, it's not even about practicing it. It has to come from inside.
Mm.
So when you believe in that, then what you realize is that all that you call as I, me, myself, is actually either hindering that process, or it can become a means for that expression to flow outside into the world,
Mhm.
right? So when we say, why are we vulnerable, we are vulnerable because we are protecting something which we are not.
Right. Very good.
And
Yes.
if you get it, if you say in the first statement, I get what you're saying, Nina, but why am I vulnerable? Then that means you didn't get it.
Mm. Because in
Right. And
essence, you
that,
didn't understand that the other person is you too. So why would
yes,
you feel any guilt? Why would you feel any frustration? Why would you feel any shame? Any of these emotions?
right. Right. So the cheetah doesn't say, why do I run so fast? And the elephant, why does the elephant say, why am I so slow? Right. And the sun, why does the sun never says that, am I giving extra heat this summer? Or do I need to improve my productivity next year? None of the natural entities in the universe have any problem with themselves. The only folks who have a problem are the human beings.
Mm.
And the reason we have a problem is because you have been given the highest faculties, which is of awareness and choice.
Right.
So but the faculties were given so that we could become closer to the expression itself and to that essence itself. And through us, the essence is discovering itself. The
Right.
essence has no boundaries. The essence has no boundaries. It is uncontained. So it flows out in the positive direction, it flows out in the negative direction. And it is simply in a state of spontaneity. So are we. Now we have a choice that when we are born with whatever we are born, one is we allow that expression to happen through us. And
Right.
the other is we forget about who we are and then we say, how do we succeed in the world? And we take on someone else benchmark, and as they say, the elephant is going to try and fly
Fantastic.
faster than the eagle, right? All that kind of stuff.
Right.
So that's when people say, okay, let's move to the next thing, I usually get an indication that they've really not got it, because while they might be curious and open, but their understanding is still not there. And because their understanding is not there, they don't have conviction. And with the conviction not being there, the clarity doesn't come, and then the courage to act doesn't happen. So when people attend, workshops, podcasts, and all that, and they get it, but they don't change the next day or nothing is happening, it means they didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I sometimes give people the exercise of 24 hours just to really be in the state of the creator. Saying, like, okay, if you believe this and everybody knew that you're the creator of everything and you're everything, like all of the things that are around you, you've created, what would that mean? How would you behave? How would you be mad at this person? Would you, you know, be so much about productivity, run so fast? Would you, go through the world miserable or happy? Like, what would you choose, right? I always ask, what is the experience you want to choose today? Because all of it is possible, right? And that's something so difficult for the ego mind to understand, because the ego mind is actually there, in my philosophy, to separate, right? To keep the illusion of separation between the two of us. And the moment, I say even coaching calls, listen, when I speak to you, it's you speaking to yourself. And people go like, oh, whoa, like that's kind of a trip, right? To think about this way. But in a way, you're never in a relationship, but with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you have to get out of your own way. I would say that.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way, which means let the intuition get a chance to put itself out. Let it have a voice equal to that of the intellect. Let it
Hmm.
have a voice which is as strong as the emotion. Let it have a voice as strong as what the body is saying. And all of these faculties are extremely important. Nothing in the universe is in excess. Nothing is, surplus. Nothing is out of place.
Yeah.
The problem happens when we put the cart before the horse, right? So you got to listen to your intuition, and then you got to listen to your emotions and your body. And when they're all aligned and they're telling you something, that means there is some value in what is there. And you might not have a logical reason for it, but then you apply your intellect to make those things happen.
Right. Yes, I agree. It's almost like I always say the brain is such a good resource, right? Our intellect, the brain, like the mind, but we don't use it. Like the mind has overridden what you're speaking about, the intuition, the body, the kind of the emotion. Like and I think that receptivity, because we're receivers, like we're receptors, but I think many of us we all have it, right? We all have it because we're all connected to that, to the source. But I see so many people like numbing it, right? Like buffering, feeling like they're overeating, over drinking, over partying, over exercising, even anything that we do over, we're like buffering that inner internal voice. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so let me just complete the other two C's.
Yeah, please.
So the first is your construct, who am I? And which is really that you are an expression of the universe itself, nothing less than that. And if you don't believe me, you go to just read some physics books and all. The love the elements inside your body, they were not, they come straight from the stars. The exploding stars created those heavy metals and all. So we are all in genuinely stardust in that sense. The second is what's our context and reality. So depending on your understanding of who you are, you create your context. The deeper is your understanding, the higher order will be your context. The shallower is your understanding, the more shallow will be your context, right? So if your understanding is of who am I is my bank balance, my reputation, my how people see me, my brand image and all that, then your context will be how do I secure the next job, how do I get that asset, how do I shine in front of others. So your context changes as per your understanding of your construct. If you really get to it that you are an expression of that, then what happens is then you allow yourself to be, you allow others to be, and you're absolutely open to the world itself, and that allows unimaginable opportunities to come your way which were relevant to you, which you otherwise sideline
Yeah.
in the process of trying to live to someone else's standards.
Totally, because it's always there. Like I always say, abundance is always there, but you are creating the limitations. Like
Yes,
abundance is not created. It's almost like all the possibilities are always there, but you don't see them because you are in the illusion, right? It's almost like like I also like to speak in analogies, and it's like you have glasses, but they're distorted vision. And so the moment you take them off, you're like, oh, wait, I didn't even
yeah,
know this
absolutely.
existed, right? And then you start to be, I always say we are the architects of our lives, right? And then all of a sudden, we can construct better buildings and better sceneries because our self creation, the expression of who we are, is becoming more beautiful, more aligned, more harmonious because we don't have the distorted illusion.
Absolutely.
And this
Absolutely.
is the context. This is what you call context, like the reality around you.
Yes. So the reality is completely internal. It's not outside. You create
Yes.
the internal reality inside. There's nothing outside.
Yes. Oh
There's
my God.
nothing outside. I mean, if you even read biology, the taste that you're getting of the food, the sub stuff that you're seeing, the sensations you're having on your skin, they all get transferred into chemical reactions, and it is these chemical molecules which go into the brain. There's no light entering the brain. It doesn't enter through the eyes to into the brain. Nothing goes inside the brain. It's a dark box. There's no light inside. It's
Mm-hmm.
all chemical molecules which are going, and then they trigger responses and stimuli based on past experiences, and then images get created, right?
Yes. And we
Um,
know now that we can do anything with the brain. And we can literally reprogram it however we want. So we're always the creators, right? So,
right.
it's almost like we've been given this superpower, which animals don't have, right? To be aware and to think about our thinking, to go into the past and to go into the future, although we know that only the present exists. Quantum physics have shown us it's literally like parallel realities everywhere. It's all possible. And it's so hard for the human brain to understand it if you are in that self-identification of I am this human being. But when you know you're at the source, it's kind of like, so what? Now what? For me, the way, and I've had an out of body experience last summer that I shared with you. It felt disconnected and so connected at the same time. And I felt so much love and like unconditional love to everything and everyone because it was this connection between me as the creator and the creation, right? Like the creation of it all. So I want to say I get it, but then you'll say you probably didn't. So let's.
No, yeah. So I mean, you know it best whether you got it or not because you were judging. You're seeing your actions, your intentions, thoughts. So you know it. No one else needs to know. No one else can be.
Totally. Yeah.
And the third piece is your contribution.
Yeah.
So when we say you're a means to end, actually there is no end to it. It's a these are we are part of a system which is a part of some system, and we are also made up of systems. So it's imagine it's some big huge machinery which is working, and one thing is feeding to the other, and small gears and big gears are all connected, and your job is to run at the rate you're supposed to run at so that the next thing runs at its own rate, right? So that's your contribution. And there are two ways I explain this. So imagine all of us have played with jigsaw puzzles. Every piece is unique. So Nina, the essence is unique. Anurag, the essence is unique. Everyone is unique, and each piece has a very natural fitment in the jigsaw. You can't just take the piece and put it anywhere,
Hmm.
right? So when you find your natural fitment, which is when you get your context right, then what happens is you suddenly become a part of a system where the whole is more than the sum of the parts. And suddenly the jigsaw depicts a visual, a picture, which each of the individual parts on their own can never depict. Now, if the individual part decides, oh no, I want to be better than the others, I am I. I am going to so much of I is in there, right? So then this piece says, let me do something on my own. Now this piece might go to some other part of some other jigsaw puzzle, and the other jigsaw puzzle is going to say, you know what, you're going to cut from this side to use some part of you, and you're going to, you're too much white in color. You're going to paint black because that's what is going to fit here. And this poor jigsaw puzzle, of course, he feels he's a part of a bigger jigsaw puzzle, right? But what he's doing is, or she's doing is, changing oneself,
Right. Or
and
to
in
fit
their
in, in order to
to fit
adapt.
in. Yeah, and that fitting in is meant to show as progress. And in that process, what's really happening is all this stuff that we talk, which is hustle, hard work, productivity, thinking, goal orientation, milestones, they all fit into this kind of a situation. But if the jigsaw piece was in its natural fitment, where is the hard work in that? Where is the productivity in that? Right? It's like a electrical circuit. You if you find yourself in your natural circuit, the energy is simply flowing through you. You're just a means. The energy is doing the stuff,
Right. Right. Right.
right? So when you find yourself in a system where you are contributing in a way that the whole is more than the sum of the parts,
Yeah.
then bingo, that's the place you're going to be. I mean, your
Totally.
body is like that.
And you'll know that I find like I knew this for myself that I was in the right place at the right time because it felt effortless. And I think, like I always feel like I'm the luckiest girl in the room when I'm, facilitating, meeting all these people. I'm like, how lucky I am, or, how grateful I am to be here because literally I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not doing anything, but I'm doing
And
it.
getting paid for it.
Yes, exactly. And I'm getting paid for it. Yes, but it's great, right? Because that's the place where you feel, and I think a lot of actually creatives, they when they get it, they're like, I'm in flow, I'm in creation, I'm a painter or a dancer or a singer or whatever, but we're all creators, right? Like you can be creators in an insurance company, you can be the best, server serving coffee, but when you're in your element, like there's no actually judgment on status or how much you get paid or whatever, but it's like this I'm here in the right place, and there's different stages. That's why I say I think reinvention is also important. When you maybe you want to reinvent yourself completely, it's not that you're denying your essence, but I was a professional tennis player and I did that well, but at some point I felt that's not like it's not who I want to be, right? It's also like choice. And so I wanted to do something else, and it took some time to recalibrate my puzzle being, but then now I'm in it. And I'm thinking that maybe there's some other expression of me that I haven't explored. I hope so. There's going to be many more.
Absolutely. And all this is possible only because you're anchored in something which cannot be defined. And it's a paradox. Everything in life which is paradoxical is true. That which cannot define allows you to define yourself in multiple ways over a period of time.
Oh, beautiful. I love this so much. This conversation is pretty deep. I think our audience is going to ask us lots of questions, so be ready. So let's maybe close this up with what I call kind of your kind of lead from within statement or lead from the inside out statement. If there is one thing from everything we just said that you want the people to go away with and think about, what would it be?
For me, lead from within is look at a world class surfer surfing the waves and look at that person very closely. And you will have a question in your mind: is the surfer surfing the waves, or is the wave surfing the surfer? Or
Wow.
are the two the same?
Wow.
That's leading from within.
Love it. Beautifully said, Anurag. Thank you so much for being here with me and having this quality time, this conversation. I really, really enjoy spending time with you. I'm always open and curious about what comes out of this. And this we never plan it, you never know. But this is what authentic conversations are about. So thank you so much for being here and giving us all of your wisdom.
Thank you, Nina. I learned a lot more, from you than probably I shared, and I think it was so in the moment. None of this was tutored, and we didn't come prepared, and that's I think what made it so much interesting.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.